Rest in peace, old friend. Last year I bought my first 360 camera. I liked it so much, actually I bought two. It opened up tons of creative shots, but it had one major flaw. You see, a 360 camera has two sensors creating a 360-degree image, and the old X3 used to pump out 5.7K. And when you reframe that, you're getting maybe 1080. And that was the big problem, because once you're mixing it with like drone footage, the main camera here, or like another action camera, it didn't hold up, right? Now we got the X4 with 8K resolution, which has given us much better image quality when we're reframing. I mean, if that was the only upgrade, I still would have bought one. But luckily there's more. So the Insta360 X4 has given us a new resolution called 5.7K plus. It's oversampling the two sensors, giving us a much better image quality than the regular 5.7, but at a smaller file size than the 8K. Now, I don't really see myself using it, but for people that have, a slow computer or phone that can't handle that 8K resolution, this actually could be a really, really good feature. In this clip, you can see the difference between the 8K and the 5.7K plus. It's close, but the 8K is definitely sharper. So at 5.7K, you're getting the exact same resolution as the X3, but we get the addition of 50 and 60 frames per second, which is nice. And at 4K, you're getting 100 frames per second. So now we can do some decent slow motion with the camera. There is a big loss of resolution, but it's definitely a nice feature to have.
Let's look at the resolutions side by side. We have 8K versus 5.7K versus 4K. They're all usable on a small enough screen, but if you're watching on a large screen, the quality difference is obvious. Have a look at it zoomed in. The X4 has three image profiles, and is where I think the camera falls short. You have standard, vivid, and flat. I haven't bothered trying vivid, as standard and flat are already too saturated in my opinion. Here's a standard profile for both the GoPro and the X4. I find that the profile on the GoPro is much warmer and balanced than the cool tones of the X4 with its strong blues and greens. Things get a bit better with the flat profile, but I think GoPro's is flatter, while the X4 still feels too saturated. This is an area I think Insta360 can improve, but it's not a deal breaker, as you can easily change the image in post. I think I prefer the GoPro's color over the X4, but you may think the opposite.
So one thing I haven't seen talked about much online is how the old X3, if you recorded longer than 30 minutes, it would separate your clips, kind of like a GoPro does, but it would leave this 10 to 15 second gap. So if you're trying to sync audio with your engine recorder or some sort of other camera, it makes syncing really, really, really difficult. So the X4 does away with that, thank God. Now, what it does is it does separate the clips like it used to normally after 30 minutes, but when you import into the software, it actually combines all the clips into a single clip, which is amazing. That's even better than what GoPro has to offer. So I absolutely love this new feature. So the build on the X4 has definitely changed. It's a little bit taller, it's a little bit wider. What hasn't changed is the sensors that are in the camera. The X3 had two 4K sensors as well, but it didn't have the processor that this one has. This one has the 5nm AI chip, which powers the 8K now. But with that comes power and cooling requirements. So the camera was designed with cooling fins built right into the body. We also get a larger battery now, which gives us roughly the same record time as the X3 did, but now we're recording in 8K. Also has a 2.5-inch screen, and it is now covered with Gorilla Glass, which is a heck of a lot stronger. So just in case you take a rock or a really heavy-duty bug right into the camera, you shouldn't break it anymore. And speaking of protection, the camera actually comes with lens guards now. The ones that come in the box with the camera are actually plastic, but they do sell tempered glass ones, which are premium and cost a little more, which makes sense. What I'd like to see is actually a third-party company or Insta360 themselves come out with ND versions of these protectors to give us a little bit more flexibility when it comes to exposing our footage. So what's this camera like to use? Well, the cool thing about a 360 camera is that I can literally point the camera in any direction and get a shot. In this circumstance, I want to get a shot of the wheel, so I can actually put it here upside down. And it doesn't matter if it's level or not, it has horizon lock. So I'm gonna get a horizon lock shot, plus it has flow state, so it's stabilized, even though this little small rig mount is super stable. But I'm getting a shot here of the wheel. I can get a shot of myself shifting. I can probably even get a up the nose shot if I wanted to as well. So it doesn't matter if I place the camera here, or here, or here, back here, or my favorite spot, right up here. As you can see, you can place this camera anywhere, but I would be mindful of the stitch line. If objects are too close, if there's a lot of motion, that stitch line will show. So you definitely want to point the lens towards the action that you want to be filming. So I quite like the UI on this camera. You swipe down to get to the main menu, you swipe up to get to your resolution and frame rate. To the left, you get your main camera settings, and then to the right, you get your files. You also have two quick customizable buttons that you can turn into whatever feature that you want, or some sort of quick access. So yeah, I think it's just a really well and simple design that's easy to use. Another cool feature that this camera has is gesture control. So all you gotta do is hold up your hand and the camera starts recording. Really useful if your camera is out of reach, and then you just hold up your hand again, and that's it, turns off. One of the best features that this camera has for sure. So I'm gonna test out the audio. I tested it out before with the windshield, and I was getting a lot of turbulence into the Rode microphone that I have in here, and the X4 didn't sound very good either. So I've installed my tall windshield again, and I just want to see if it makes any difference at all. So we're gonna go do a little vlog test. Ooh, we're gonna do a little vlog test. Jesus Christ. Okay, I gotta stop this video here for a second because I just noticed something important. The audio is out of sync. So the setup that I have is the Cardo Pack Talk Edge connected to the X4 via Bluetooth. Now, a Bluetooth connection will go out of sync slowly if you're not using timecode. That's normal. But this is out of sync right from the beginning. That's not good. The other weird thing with the Cardo Pack Talk Edge is that it has noise cancellation, and that is actually being recorded directly to the X4 as well. So you're not getting ambient, you're not getting engine sounds, you're just getting voice. And the quality of the voice is, you know, pretty subpar. So as a motovlogging setup, this doesn't work whatsoever. I think you're better off using, you know, a microphone connected directly to your action camera, or using a separate audio recorder like a DJI microphone or a Rode microphone, which will give you better quality, and then that's easy to sync in post. But I do want to show you the difference between the audio quality between the X4 and the Rode microphone. So anyways, back to the video. So how's the audio quality when I'm standing up? My visor is open. Let's see how this sounds. Let's close the visor while standing. This is what everything sounds like. So how's the audio quality when I'm standing up? My visor is open. Let's see how this sounds. Let's close the visor while standing. This is what everything sounds like. So how's the audio quality when I'm standing up? My visor is open. Let's see how this sounds. Let's close the visor while standing. This is what everything sounds like. So there's definitely some other noteworthy features, like 72 megapixel photos, me mode, star lapse, time lapse, auto dash, and loop recording. I mean, those could all be interesting for motorcyclists. Not really a rabbit hole I want to jump down on this video, but there is one feature that I actually tested, and that was time shift. Now, time shift is kind of like a hyperlapse, but it's a hyperlapse that you can actually reframe and move around, which is super interesting. I mean, I could see myself using that on longer sections of a trip, or just to do some kind of interesting stuff. I think it looks really cool, the way it kind of flows and stuff. Really dig that feature, so I'll be using that a heck of a lot more often. And then we'll get into software. So I don't really use the phone app, because I don't really post much on social media, but I'm a desktop person, and the software for the desktop is phenomenal. Very easy to use. Once you kind of get used to it, is a bit of a learning curve, but once you do kind of figure it out, the stuff that you can do with it is really cool. So The X4 is the whole package with from the software to the camera itself. It's amazing. Hey, there's a fly in my lens. So I've tested this camera for quite a few days now, and I have to say I'm absolutely in love with this camera. The X4 surpassed my expectations compared to the X3. The X3 was an amazing camera in its own right, but it just didn't have the resolution that I wanted, and the X4 delivers. But what's next for the X4? Well, I think now that we have 8K, the next logical step is probably to add 10-bit to the camera. I don't know if it's going to be possible with this form factor, but hopefully they can figure that out. I'd also like to see them work on their color profiles, maybe add an option for something a little bit more natural, or maybe it's time to add log. Speaking of log, the One RS could be due for an upgrade. That'd be nice to see some more professional features like 10-bit and log added to that camera with a bigger sensor. That would be pretty amazing. But, you know, as a motorcycle camera, the X4 surpassed my expectations. You know, I love the X3 with the form factor and the ability to get shots in such creative ways. And now the X4 gives us the resolution that we were lacking before. So that's pretty awesome. So I'm going to go ride now. But if you made it this far, please do like and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. I'm going to go and do a little bit of shooting now. And we're going to put together a little montage so you can see how these different cameras mix together, from the Sony, the X4, the GoPro Hero 12, and the DJI Air 3. We'll see you in the next one.